GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good evening. Tonight we'll break down Quebec leaders' response to the new U.S. tariffs, hear about René Gauvaud's surprise candidacy for Quebec Solidaire, and get the latest on clear traffic with a bridge lane closure. Weather's mild, perfect for the candlelight tribute. Over to you, Emma.
Tonight's candlelight tribute at Place des Arts presents performances honoring Adele, Michael Jackson, and The Lion King, beginning at 8 p.m. Tickets start at $35.
The evening features local choir Les Voix du Québec, a jazz quartet, and a ballet troupe interpreting scenes from The Lion King, all scheduled for a 2-hour program.
Proceeds from the candlelight tribute support the Montreal Music Education Fund, with a portion of each ticket donated to youth instrument programs across the city.
Lots to get to. Let's begin our evening together, and I'll hand it over to the stories that await. Here are our top stories. Quebec politicians and industry heads voiced concern Saturday after the United States announced new tariffs expected to hit the province harder than other regions. Colette Barbeau has the full story.
Quebec politicians and industry representatives gathered early Saturday morning as the United States rolled out a new set of trade tariffs. In the provincial capital, the finance minister warned that the measures could cut into the province's export earnings, while the head of the Provincial Manufacturing Association said factories could see higher costs on key inputs. Leaders from the dairy and aerospace sectors echoed concerns, noting that the tariff schedule hits commodities and components that flow heavily through Quebec's supply chains. Analysts in the room highlighted that the tariff impact appears steeper here than in other Canadian provinces, forecasting a tougher trade outlook for the province. Colette Barbeau, GMNA News, Quebec. René Gauvaud, a former Parti Québécois member of the National Assembly, announced today his candidacy for Quebec Solidaire in the Camille Laurin riding. Gauvaud, who served as a PQMNA for several terms, said his decision reflects a shift toward the left-leaning platform of Quebec Solidaire. The move places him against incumbent Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon, the current leader of the Parti Québécois and sitting member for Camille Laurin. Party officials confirmed the filing of his nomination papers with the Electoral Commission earlier this afternoon. Gauvaud's campaign will focus on affordable housing, climate action, and expanding public services, aligning with Quebec Solidaire's core priorities. Political analysts noted the contest could intensify competition in a riding that has traditionally leaned PQ, though the final impact will depend on voter response as the election approaches later this year.
Researchers have begun a systematic survey in the Lanaudière region, hoping to confirm whether the province's oldest white pine stands among its forested hills. The effort comes as scientists stress that Quebec's white pines can survive for several centuries, making the search both a scientific and cultural priority. Field teams are mapping historic stands, collecting core samples, and consulting archival maps to narrow down candidate trees that may have germinated before the 18th century. If located, the tree would become a living benchmark for climate and ecological studies, offering insight into long-term forest health. Provincial natural heritage officials say the project will involve collaboration with local landowners and indigenous knowledge keepers, ensuring a thorough examination of the landscape. Findings are expected to be reported later this year, adding a new chapter to Quebec's natural history.
Local entrepreneur Isabelle Martineau is converting invasive Japanese knotweed harvested in Abercorn into lemonade, aiming to curb the fast-spreading plant threatening Quebec ecosystems. Ramai Gaudreau has the full story.
At a quiet residential street in Abercorn, Isabelle Martineau kneels beside a tangled patch of Japanese knotweed, the invasive plant she's pulling from the neighborhood. With pruning shears, she cuts the thick stalks, feeds them into a portable crusher, then pours the extracted juice into a stainless steel kettle. After a brief boil, she adds sugar and lemon zest, cools the mixture, and bottles the bright, tart lemonade right on site. Martineau says the process clears the weed while giving it a practical use, turning a harmful species into a drink. Japanese knotweed spreads rapidly across Quebec, crowding out native plants and destabilizing riverbanks, so each batch of lemonade marks a small step toward containing the invasion. Ramai Gaudreau, GMNA News, Abercorn.
Police are searching for two individuals after a boating collision on Lac des Montagnes early this month. The Service de Police de la Ville de Montreal says a motorboat struck a jet ski, leaving the rider injured and the vessel abandoned. Investigators recovered the damaged jet ski near the lake's western shore and have identified two possible drivers, but have not released names. Witnesses reported the boat accelerating away from the scene shortly after the impact. SPVM officers are reviewing surveillance footage from nearby marinas and have issued a public alert asking anyone who saw the incident to contact the department. The search remains active as detectives work to piece together the events that led to the hit and run on the popular summer lake. Because the lake attracts heavy weekend traffic, investigators are also checking dock logs and contacting nearby marinas for clues. Up next, the CAQ rolls out 5 fresh faces for Greater Montreal. Find out who they are and what they promise. We will be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes, the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. Welcome back. Yesterday, the governing coalition Avenir Quebec announced its slate of 5 candidates for the upcoming provincial election in the Greater Montreal region. 3 of the nominees will run on the island of Montreal, while 2 will contest ridings in Laval. The party said the selections reflect a focus on local issues such as transit, housing affordability, and economic growth. Party officials highlighted the candidates' ties to community organizations and municipal councils, positioning them as ready to defend the government's record on health care and education. The announcement comes as the CAQ prepares its campaign strategy ahead of the vote, with the party already holding a majority in the National Assembly. Voters in the designated districts will receive official candidate lists from Elections Quebec in the coming weeks. Election officials will certify the nominations by early September.
Quebec's Ministry of Public Security, led by Ian Lafreniere, signed a decree banning the public display of Hells Angels insignia as part of a broader crackdown on the outlaw motorcycle gang. Colette Barbeau has the full story.
The province's Public Security Ministry unveiled a new decree today, banning anyone from wearing the Hells Angels emblem in public. Minister Ian Lafreniere signed the order, saying it targets the outlaw motorcycle group's visible symbols as part of a broader crackdown. Under the regulation, police can confiscate the patches, tattoos, or clothing bearing the gang's skull and crossbones, and offenders could face fines. The move follows years of raids and court cases aimed at dismantling the organization's foothold across Quebec. Authorities stress the ban is meant to limit the gang's intimidation tactics and curb its street presence. Violations will be logged in a provincial database and could trigger further investigation by anti-gang units. Colette Barbeau, GMNA News, Quebec. St. Pie Town Council approved a resolution this month to study the construction of a new high school on the 57-year-old Sanair racetrack. The proposal puts the historic track, a fixture in the region for more than 5 decades, at risk of demolition. Heritage groups have responded by urging municipal authorities to designate the site as a protected landmark, arguing the venue's long-standing role in local culture and motorsport history. Council members said the school would address growing enrollment pressures, while preservation advocates highlighted the racetrack's significance to generations of fans and its contribution to the town's identity. The debate now centers on whether the community can balance educational needs with the desire to safeguard a landmark that many view as an irreplaceable piece of regional heritage. If approved, construction could begin as early as next spring, reshaping the surrounding neighborhood and prompting further public consultations.
Police officials announced today that every officer in the Service de Police de la Ville de Montreal will receive a body-worn camera that cannot be switched off. Chief Fady Dagger said the devices will stay active at all times and that the department will make all recorded footage publicly available to guarantee total transparency. The rollout begins next week, with training sessions scheduled across the force to ensure proper use. The portable units will attach to each officer's uniform and be uploaded to a secure server within 24 hours of every shift for review. Dagger emphasized that the policy is designed to build trust and to provide an unfiltered view of police interactions. Community groups have welcomed the move, noting that continuous recording could help resolve disputes and curb misconduct. The SBVM expects the permanent cameras to be fully operational by the end of the month.
A century-old church in southwest Montreal, damaged by last winter's fire, faces demolition due to collapse risk, leaving only its facade possibly salvageable. Matthew Lachance has the full story.
Fire officials say a blaze last winter ripped through a century-old church in southwest Montreal, leaving the nave collapsed and the stone facade the only part still standing. Engineers inspected the ruin and determined the structure is unstable, posing an immediate danger to pedestrians on the adjacent streets. City permits have been issued for a controlled demolition, scheduled to begin next week, to prevent an uncontrolled collapse. Preservation groups had hoped to save the historic walls, but the damage from the fire rendered them beyond repair. The demolition crew will use heavy equipment to bring down the remaining walls, then clear the site for potential redevelopment. Matthew Lachance, GMNA News, Verdun.
Now let's turn to the forecast and see what tonight's weather has in store.
A southerly jet stream is dragging warm air east, but an approaching trough promises cooler nightfall. On this date, the all-time heat peaked at 32.4 Celsius in 2021, a blistering spike that arrived during a lingering heat wave across southern Quebec. The coldest mark fell to 13 Celsius in 2023, recorded during an unseasonal Arctic surge that sent frost into the downtown core. By contrast, the climatological normals hover around 27 for the high and 15 for the low, making today's 29 peak feel warm, but still shy of that historic furnace. The live radar screen is a smooth blue canvas across southern Quebec, no echoes of rain or snow in sight. That emptiness reflects the high pressure that is still dominant and a jet stream racing southwest at 117 kilometers per hour, steering any moisture well north of us. With the atmosphere stable, the next band of precipitation won't arrive for at least 12 hours, allowing us to pivot straight into tonight's outlook. At 6 p.m., the city sits under a clear sky, temperature 25 Celsius, humidity 38%, and a gentle southeast breeze at 17 kilometers per hour. Pressure is near average, but easing lower, signaling the start of a more unsettled night as a trough drifts eastward behind the jet stream. The fast southwest jet at 117 kilometers per hour is capping the low-level air, keeping clouds at bay for now. As darkness falls, radiational cooling will push temperatures down toward the overnight low of 13 Celsius, especially with the clear skies enhancing heat loss. UV index reads 6, but the night will be UV-free. No weather alerts are active, and winds remain below the threshold for concern. Looking ahead, Sunday will break with overcast skies and a high of 23 Celsius, dropping to 15 at night. Monday brings a mainly clear spell but a 40% chance of rain, temperatures hovering around 22 Celsius with a low near 15. Tuesday repeats the pattern, 23 Celsius peak, 16 low and another 40% rain risk, the moisture lingering from the previous day. Wednesday clears completely, reaching 24 Celsius and a comfortable low of 17 as the jet stream lifts northward, allowing sunshine to dominate. Thursday turns warmer, topping at 27 Celsius and staying overcast, with a 30% rain probability as a weak frontal boundary nudges the region. The weekend ends with a gentle return to milder conditions, setting the stage for a typical late summer rhythm. And that's your weather. Remember, the local sunset is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Amazon Music or wherever you get your podcasts.
Traffic stays smooth despite construction. Lineup features Adele and Michael Jackson tributes, plus our chamber spotlight on Poissonnerie Restaurant Rayon. We will be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. Southbound lanes are closed on the Samuel de Champlain Bridge, so expect a queue heading into the island. The Viger Tunnel between Rue Panet and Sortie 5 on Boulevard Robert Bourassa remains a major hindrance, with traffic crawling at about 15 kilometers per hour. The Ville-Marie Tunnel between Boulevards Robert Bourassa and St. Laurent also runs slow during the lunch rush. On Autoroute d'Écurie, construction from the interchange to Rue Jean Talon forces alternating traffic, adding roughly 10 minutes. Autoroute des Laurentides sees work from the interchange to Boulevard Henry Bourassa, with lane reductions near the Henry Bourassa exit. The Louis-Hippolyte Lafontaine Tunnel north-south direction is under ongoing work, so watch lane markings. Minor hindrances persist on Boulevard Lacordaire above Autoroute Quarante and on Rue Saint-Urbain above Autoroute Saint-Trent-6. Avenue Soligny between Autoroute 25 and Rue Honoré-Beaugrand has light activity. Overall, most routes are moving freely, and there are no transit disruptions this afternoon.
The Lion King roars onto the stage at Salle Wilfrid Pelletier Place des Arts, a dazzling Disney musical still fresh for families and theater lovers. If you crave high-energy punk, the Vans Warped Tour has taken over Parc Jean Drapeau, delivering 2 days of anthems from Angel du Dollar T to Jimmy Eat World, perfect for a summer night out. For a different adventure, the citywide bank heist game invites you to follow clues across Montreal's streets, turning the neighborhood into a live-action puzzle. Music fans can also swing by Cabaret du Casino for a Michael Jackson legacy concert, a night of iconic pop that still moves the dance floor. Looking ahead, MUTEK arrives later this week at Place des Arts, promising cutting-edge electronic beats and immersive installations for the tech-curious. And from 20 to 23 August, the MAD and FMD Design Festival lights up Cartier des spectacles with runway shows and pop-up shops, a must-see for style seekers. And now here's Jason with sports.
Montreal's future takes shape as prospects rise and the window widens. Prospect forward Hayden Popinkies is embracing the jump to NCAA competition, eager to test himself against older seasoned players. His development aligns with the Canadiens' long-term vision, as analysts project Montreal and the San Jose Sharks as the league's top contenders 5 years out, while the Laval Rocket reshapes its roster. Fourth-round pick LJ Mooney entered the 2025 draft amid doubts about his 5'8" frame, but he silenced skeptics with a 30-point haul in 34 games as a freshman in the NCAA. That production forces Montreal to reconsider the role of smaller, skilled forwards on the roster. General manager Craig Button declares Montreal's championship window open for the next 6 years, a timeline reinforced by the club's young core choosing a cup chase over contracts. The 2023 draft class now 3 seasons in, while 3 free agents linger on PTO talks, and veteran Ivan Lambert recovers from hip and femur surgery. Defenseman Bogdan Konyushkov saw his KHL contract terminated this summer, enabling Montreal to ink his entry-level deal. The Canadiens immediately loaned him back to Torpedo Nizhny Novgorod for the full season, but retained the option to call him up for the playoff push in April or May. Veteran center Patrice Bergeron lauds Nick Suzuki, saying he possesses every quality of a true franchise player. That endorsement underscores Suzuki's central role as Montreal builds around its homegrown talent while eyeing sustained contention in the coming seasons. After guiding the Zurich Lions to a National League title and a Champions Hockey League crown, Vinzenz Rora returned to Europe with a dip in production, posting half the points of his previous campaign. With the Swiss season ending early, he joined the Laval Rocket to stay sharp. Stay tuned, Habs fans, the chase has just begun.
Thanks, Jason. Poissonnerie Restaurant Rayon opens on St. Catherine Street West in downtown Montreal, bringing a market-style twist to the city's seafood scene. Diners step up to a bright counter, choose a fresh catch from the daily selection, and then take a seat while chefs prepare it to order. The concept turns a simple meal into an interactive experience, inviting guests to connect with the source of their food. By hiring local chefs and servers, Rayon adds new jobs and energizes the street's bustling lunchtime flow. It's a place where the rhythm of the market meets the comfort of a table, reminding us that Montreal's flavor thrives when community and cuisine intersect. It invites every Montrealer to taste the sea right in the heart of the city. Coming up, we examine the $700 mayoral stipend proposal and the health agency's new hospital land acquisition today.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. Welcome back. Montreal borough mayors could earn $700 per table des maires meeting, potentially reaching $7,000 annually, a move aimed at bolstering inter-borough collaboration. Matthew Lachance has the full story.
At the municipal headquarters, borough mayors are set to receive a stipend of $700 for each table des maires meeting they attend. With 12 regular sessions scheduled annually, the compensation could add up to roughly $7,000 per year for each mayor. The city says the payments are meant to reinforce cooperation among the borough leaders, a core goal of the table des maires, which was created to streamline coordination across Montreal's 24 boroughs. Officials noted the fund will come from the city's budget and will be administered through the mayor's office. The move comes as part of broader efforts to align local policies and share resources across districts. Matthew Lachance, GMNA News, Montreal.
Santé Quebec has completed a $30 million land purchase in Montreal's Maisonneuve-Rosemont district, clearing the way for the province's new hospital project. Nadia Bellafuel has the full story.
On a crisp Tuesday afternoon, the Quebec Health Agency finalized the purchase of a vacant lot on Boulevard St. Laurent, earmarked for the new Maisonneuve-Rosemont Hospital. Officials exchanged a check for $30 million Canadian dollars, securing the site that will host the province's latest acute care facility. The transaction, recorded on August 21, 2026, marks the first concrete step toward construction in the heart of the Maisonneuve-Rosemont neighborhood. Provincial health planners say the hospital will add several thousand beds to the region's network, easing pressure on existing sites. Workers and community members gathered nearby as the paperwork was signed, signaling the start of a project slated to reshape local health care delivery. Nadia Bellafuel, GMNA News, Maisonneuve.
Thank you, Montreal, for joining us on the local sunset. Tonight's look at the entrepreneur turning invasive knotweed into lemonade highlighted our city's ingenuity. We'll be back tomorrow with more stories that matter to you. Until then, stay curious and keep watching. Enjoy the night and see you bright and early tomorrow.